What's up, Meta Nerds? This video is all about the J-Type 327 Nubian Royal Starship. The hull of this ship was manufactured by Theed Palace Space Vessel Engineering Corps, with the engines and many electrical components being produced by Nubia Star Drives, the same people that made the Scourge H-6 prototype bomber and the Freefall class bomber. It had an overall length of 76 meters, or 249 feet, the length of about 2.5 katanas, also known as Jabba's sail barge. There are no official stats on its width, but it seems like it was around 32 meters, or 105 feet, making it about 5 TIE fighters across. With a top speed of 920 kilometers per hour, or 572 miles per hour, it was faster than a TIE bomber, but slower than an X-Wing. This ship was operated by a pilot and a co-pilot, but was assisted by 8 astromech droids that would maintain the ship, run diagnostics, and carry out repairs when necessary. But depending on the mission, it would have additional crew members, including a communications officer, engineer, navigator, diplomatic aide, security officer, or a deckhand. It was introduced in 38 BBY, 6 years before the Battle of Naboo, and because it was a transport, it didn't have any weaponry. But it did have some respectable defenses, with a powerful deflector shield, and hull that was made completely out of chromium. This material was excellent at deflecting radiation and laser cannon fire, and had historically been forbidden on any ship other than that used by the royal house. This tradition had been kept up throughout the millennia, but was largely symbolic in a time without large-scale warfare. The hyperdrive was also one of the more advanced parts of this ship. A 1.8 class hyperdrive isn't the fastest in the galaxy, but it was built to be durable and effective, even when it was damaged, as we saw it could still jump from Naboo to Tatooine, after taking some serious hits from the Lucrehulk. It was built to be easily repaired, by having it raise up from a compartment in the floor. Even the pair of sublight engines were exceptional, meeting the strict emission standards of Naboo, while still being faster than most other engines for ships this size. But let's go ahead and take a look inside of the ship, to see where everything was, and how it all worked. The nose of this ship contained long-range sensor arrays, and communications antennas, as well as other navigational sensors, and the forward deflector shield projector. This was located on the lower deck, and made up the forward maintenance station, which could be accessed through this forward bulkhead. Back on the upper level of this ship, we can see that there are 2 recessed floodlights, which are right above the royal quarters. Through these doors we end up in the forward hold, which had these large containers full of supplies. Continuing towards the rear of the ship, we see the main hold, which had this elevator that could take you down to the lower deck, and the entire starboard side of this room contained this long tech station. If we go down to the lower level, we can see how the wiring was laid out under the floor, and where the escape pods and the massive power core were located. This is right next to the engineering station, which could be manually operated by the ship's engineer. This section is protected by the port side deflector shield projector, which was right next to a large sensor array. In the droid hold, you can see where all the different astromechs were stored, as well as another elevator to get to the upper level, and a tube that could take the astromechs to the surface of the ship in the event that it was ever damaged. There were 2 large fuel tanks that would direct fuel through these lines, up into the pair of the radial sublight engines. The design of these engines, as well as the trailing heat sink finial, were very similar to that of the Naboo Starfighter. Right next to the engines were another pair of deflector shield generators, and if we look past the cockpit viewing screens, we could see the flight controls, where the pilot and co-pilot sat, and right behind this was an antechamber containing 2 sentries that would protect the royal throne room. Here the king or queen would sit upon this throne and give proclamations through a holo recorder, while having this additional seating for the royal attendants and others that might be on board this ship. Now this ship was first commissioned for King Ars Varuna and took 4 years to complete, but the king only got to use it 3 times before being killed, upon which it passed into the hands of Queen Amidala. Though it was common for royalty to name their ships, Amidala didn't have any time before she used this ship to break through the Trade Federation's planetary blockade of Naboo. When the yacht received fire from the Lucrehulk's turrets, its shield generator was damaged, and the astromechs were deployed. G8R3, R2B1, R2R9, and R2N3 were taken out by cannon fire, but a droid named R2D2 survived due to the fact that its body was constructed using a material known as plot armor. He was able to get the shields back online, though the hyperdrive was also damaged, forcing them to jump to Tatooine instead of their intended destination of Coruscant. Qui-Gon was able to find a replacement T-14 generator, while Obi-Wan had to rescue the Queen when she was kidnapped by Tusken raiders who snuck onto the ship. From here, the royal yacht would take Padmé to the Senate, where she pled her case for Naboo, and then she took the ship to go meet with the Gungans. After the Trade Federation had been defeated, and Amidala left Naboo to become senator, this ship was retired, and another yacht was built for her successor, Queen Jamila. The only other times the J-Type 327 Nubian was ever seen again was when the King of Orako used a gold-plated one, and in 25 ABY, this ship was described as quite a collector's item. So that's it for the Royal Yacht, but you definitely want to hear these cool facts and behind-the-scenes stuff. The look of this ship was based off of chrome hood ornaments off of fancy automobiles from the 50s, and things like the Rolls Royce, but the overall shape was heavily modeled after the SR-71 Blackbird. The designation J-Type 327 was a nod to Docking Bay 327 on the Death Star, which is where the Millennium Falcon was tractor beamed into. And this was also the number of the landing platform that the Falcon used in Cloud City. What's really cool is that Lucas had mentioned a ship like this in the original script for Star Wars, in which he wrote a silver spacecraft emerged from behind one of the Utapau moons. It would take decades later before he would introduce this silver ship and the planet Utapau, both first appearing in the prequels. So that's it for the J-Type 327 Nubian Royal Starship. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to check out our social media, or ways that you can help support this channel, be sure to check out the description down below. If you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications. But more important than all that, remember, R2-D2 was the real chosen one, and the Force will be with you, always.